Hi, y'all. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Chris Martin. Hi, Chris Tolbert. What's up, TV? All right, y'all. How are y'all doing? I need to hang up clothes. I've had an okay day today. Nothing major happened or was going on today. Nothing matters. Nothing. Oh, man. Hi, sis. How you doing? How you doing? You see my title, right? You see my title. But how are you? I'm doing good. I am doing good. I'm about to get my tripod. Give me a second so I can actually sit you guys up a little bit higher. Higher, higher, higher in the moon. Age gap. Yes, age gap. Give me a second. I'm getting my tripod. My tripod. my tripod. Let's see. Never gonna say goodbye, girl. Ooh. All right, I got it. Story time says, where's the tea? All right. So, um, the tea, the tea, the tea, the tea. Are you ready for this? First of all, I'm in an age gap relationship by 21 years. 21 years. 21 years. So, yes, he's older. He is a maintenance man. No, I did not meet him here in this house. Let me let y'all know that real quick. We did not meet here at all. Um, but he's a maintenance man. So currently he lives at an apartment complex. But um, yeah. Uh hey Ronnie. Um, he's super sweet. He has only one child left that is 17 years old that lives with him. Um, he I'm plugging in the thing. Age isn't anything but a number, especially if he knows how to work it. I wouldn't know that yet. um, but anyway, he so let me just say this. I'm gonna just tell y'all the tea, okay? We met on Facebook dating. I did not approach him. He approached me. Like I don't like approach men on there. And honestly, for a while I forgot that I even had that until I got a notification at the bottom of my Facebook page because if y'all notice, I don't post on my Facebook like I used to. So I'm not on there all the time. So, and if I am, it's just to like post a quick picture and that's about it. Like I don't really do too much posting on there. So I see that one of my buttons at the bottom is red, which is the heart. So I'm like, what the heck? And I was like, I thought I like disabled that part to where nobody could find me on there. And um, so I go on there and I'm going through like all the matches, not the matches, but the people that liked me. And I seen it and his had a message on it. And I'm like, now I'm swiping, I'm like pushing the button, the X button like on everybody. And then I seen his, but it had a message. Now I do read the ones that have like messages attached to them. There's a picture on there that is getting attention that I did not necessarily want attention from that exact picture. I just wanted to take the picture of my legs. Like I was taking a picture of my legs, but I had heels on and I had green toes. My toenails are green. So that picture alone is attracting a whole bunch of attention. So, did you meet the last one on there? No, I met the last one on Tag. I am very active on Tag. Live stream on Tag, but that's about it. I met him off Tag. So, completely different. somewhat the same scenario, but different platforms, totally different platforms. Um, but anyway, I met FYI, I met Marshawn's dad on Tag, and he still has a profile. It's probably old, but because the picture that's on it is still like it's that picture, that first picture that I seen him on when I first met him. But anyway, exactly, and that's exactly what I'm on Tag for, to make money. Okay, so I'm not worried about all that stuff over there on Tag. But anyway, so I read his message and it was like, "Oh, you're very attractive. I like your smile, blah blah blah." He was like, "Have a beautiful day." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So, I'm like, "Oh, thank you so very much. I appreciate the compliments. I hope you have a blessed day." That was it. He messaged me back and he was like, "Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know if you were going to message me because I messaged you days ago." And I'm like, he actually did not say anything about my toes. He did not say anything about my toes. That's what really like made me like pay attention to him, because a lot of men just like they go to that toe picture and they're like, "Oh, you got some beautiful toes. Oh, I love your toes. I love that green on your toes." Or they'll mention like, "Oh, I wonder if if your toes and your feet smell good." Like that type of thing. So he didn't say, and that really attracted me to him as well. And I'm like, "Well, I'm not normally on here because I don't really use this app. Like I don't use this portion of Facebook anymore." So thank you. So he was like, he was just like talking to me normal talk or whatever. And then I was like, "Well, I'm not on this part often." I said, "So," because now a couple more days went by because I don't be on Facebook like that. I don't even have my notifications on for Facebook. That's how much I don't be on there. So I told him, I said, "Well, here's my number. I'm not expecting nothing. I'm not looking for nothing, like, whatever." And then so he was like, he had text me. And I was like, "Who the fuck is Floyd?" Like, because he has an iPhone. So I seen where it said maybe Floyd. And I was like, okay. So I look at it and he's like, "Good morning. I hope you have a beautiful day." Like, okay. Then he's like, I took like some hours because when I first get in the morning, when I first wake up in the morning, I literally just start like getting the kids up for school, brushing their teeth, all that stuff, doing all my morning stuff, right? So, and then I started cleaning and I totally forgot about it till somebody else texted me. And then I was like, "Oh, shoot, I didn't respond." So I said, "Good morning. Thank you. I have a headache. Like, I've been having a headache, like I've been telling you for the past, like, y'all, these headaches are getting so bad." So I said, "I've had a headache since last week." And he said, "You're still having those headaches?" And I said, "Yes." And so he was like, "Have you taken anything?" I said, "Funny thing is, yesterday I took a pill, a pain pill. Y'all know, if y'all been here long enough, I don't take any type of medicine. I took a pain pill. I went to sleep and woke up with a headache. That pill did nothing for me but put me to sleep." I'm going to actually try to make an appointment to see my doctor this week coming up. And then I'm going to ask them to send me to a neurologist because something is going off. And y'all, I have pain. It's like right across like this area where my three fingers are, and it's deep. It hurts. And it's hurting so bad to where the back of my neck is hurting, like right here in this area, and it goes all the way down into my arm. So, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's stress, it's stress, it's stress." No, I've been having headaches my whole entire life, and I ain't been stressed my whole entire life. This is different. So, and it just could possibly be exactly. That's what I was saying. I was like, okay, this sound a lot like Sarah. And I was like, well, I'm gonna have to, go and see about it because it could just be possibly I have migraines and I'm just gonna have to get medication for it. It could be. It could be the same exact thing that you got. It could be. It ain't no possible. I'm not singling out no possibilities when it comes to headaches because headaches can mean a lot of different things. So could be that I'm not getting enough sleep. It could be because I'm stressed. It could be because I have a small tumor. It could be because whatever, you know what I'm saying? Low oxygen. It could be anything. Tumor and cluster headaches. Yeah, it could be cluster headaches. Like there's yeah, because they don't like literally I took a pain pill. Now, let me tell y'all, this pain pill should have knocked my pain out and it did not. So, okay, back to the story. So we start talking or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, I would like to meet you in person." He was like, "You sound really cool." And I told him straight up, I said, "I'm not really looking for anything." I said, we could be friends. I said, I got kind of like a situation going on, but I don't really know about the situation all the way, like whatever. And so he was like, that's fine. And so we went out, we had fun, we went out to dinner, we just sat and talked. Um, we just sat and talked and we were gonna go to the movies, and I was like, "There's nothing that I want to see in the movies." So we just sat and talked or whatever, and he was just like kept my interest the whole time, like. And by the end of the conversation, like the first conversation, he was like, "I want you a part of my life." Like this is what he not the first conversation, but by the at the end of the date, when I was already at home, took my shower and all that stuff, he got home. He texts me and he's like, "I want you a part of my life." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" Y'all know y'all know me and y'all know how I be reacting to stuff. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Elaborate on that." He was like, "I want you a part of my life. Like, I don't want to be without you." He was like, "I feel like I've known you for a long time." And I'm like, that's crazy. Now I'm thinking in my head, like I'm thinking things in my head, but I'm not saying the things in my head, right? So I'm like, okay. I was like, well, he was like, "Do you think that you can give us an opportunity?" And I'm like, "I'll think about it." I was like, "I'll think about it." So I literally just like, I was just sitting there and I literally heard. And I'm not even playing with y'all. I literally heard in my head, "You've been praying for this, and I give it to you, and now you're questioning it, right?" So I'm like, "All right, let me back off. Let me not think about it." And I said, "That's possible." And he was like, "What's possible?" I said, you don't want to be you want to be a part of my life. You don't want to, be without me. I said, "We'll see what happens. We'll take it, that exactly. That's what I said. I said, "We'll take it slow." And he was like, "Okay." So the next I think we talked that night or whatever, and I was like, "Do you snore?" I don't know why I be asking these questions. But I asked the question, I said, "Do you snore?" And he was like, "No, I don't snore." I said, "Has anybody told you that you ever snored?" He was like, "No, nobody's ever said that I snored. And if they did, it was usually because I was super tired, like super exhausted because of my job or something like that." And I'm like, "So you just naturally," he was like, "In due time, you'll figure it out." He was like, "We'll see if I snore or not." Like, okay. He was like, "Do you snore?" And I said, "No, I actually don't." So he was like, "Okay." And then we just talked or whatever. And if you ever been in love or you're in strong liking, let me use that term, strong like of a person, and that person brings you peace, and that person becomes your peace, and then the thought of this might be my person comes in your head, that's exactly where I'm at right now. Am I taking it slow? Yeah. Uh, and he's not worried about sex. Hi, brother-in-law. The handyman has your attention. Yeah. So he does have my attention. So I'm like, okay. we're gonna see where it goes. We're gonna see where it goes. So then he was like, he asked me something about, am I done with having kids? And I said, if I got married and my husband wanted a child, then I would. I said, but no pressure like that. I'm opening up my window, y'all. So he was like, but do you want? I said, let me tell you something. My tubes are tied. I said, and I wish I would have thought about it even more before I did it, because now I do want another child. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So he was like, well, we'll see what happens and where we are, and if we're if it lasts. And yeah, I said if it lasts, he was like, if it lasts, and are you open to getting your tubes untied? And I said, yeah, I'm open to it. I said, that's the only way I'm gonna get pregnant unless I do IVF. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, okay. He was like, we'll see what happens. He was like, it's not a definite no and it's not a definite yes. He said, but I wouldn't mind it. And I said, okay, cool. We talked about not living together, but like where, if things progressed, where would we, like, would I be willing to move there? Like in his city, or would he move here? That type of thing. It's kind of like up in the air because I'm like, I really don't want to move to the Bay Area because it's so damn expensive. So yeah, it does cost a lot. IVF costs us a whole bunch. And getting your tubes reversed, tube ties reversed, is fairly cheaper than IVF. It's only 2,500 in California to get your tubes untied. Baby, I can get my tubes untied in February. Anyway, Um, he's like 45 minutes from me. He's 45 minutes from me. We're actually going out tomorrow. Hopefully we're able to go out tomorrow. Right now him and his son are shopping in San Francisco right now. So I told him, I said, I think you're my person. He said, what? Explain that. And I said, like my peace, my comfort, my happiness, like you bring like I'm happy, genuinely happy when I'm talking to you. And he was like, that just made me hella smile. He was like, I'm glad that you told me that. He was like, because I was trying to figure out if you felt the same way. And I said, oh, okay. So we talked about a whole bunch of stuff. Whole bunch of stuff. I asked him, did he tell his kids about me? And he said yes. He's no, I said, did you tell any possible soulmate? And let me say this. So soulmate does not generally mean that you guys have to date to be a soulmate. Y'all could just be really close friends and be soulmates that way. Does not technically mean that I have to marry this person to be my soulmate. But so I asked him, did you tell anybody about us? And he said yes. And I said, what was their response? That you're in an age gap relationship, a 21-year age gap. And he said, he was like, they didn't really say too much because they know not to say shit to me about nothing that I do personally. He said, but the only people that mattered were my kids, my older kids, and my son, the son that lives with me. And I said, correct. And I said, how did they feel? And he was like, I mean, they were genuinely happy for me. He was like, nobody had anything negative to say. They just told me, like, if you're happy, we're happy. You need somebody. That's it. Yeah. Then I found out last night his ex-wife lives in my city. I said, I hope I don't know who she is. He said, if she does, she's not in my business. Like, she's married, she don't care. She wants me to find somebody, whatever. And I was like, okay. First of all, you're 59 years old. You're 59. So that means your wife is around that age. I don't want to be having to have issues with 59-year-old women. I'm just saying. So hopefully I get to meet her. That's good, but are they close? No, they're not close. They're not, and they weren't married that long either. I think that he said that they were married for like 18 months or something like that. They weren't married long. He was like, "It just didn't work." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But, no, they're not close. They co-parent, but that's about it. Nothing major. Um, yeah, I'm like, y'all were married for 18 months, and it was more so on her part. She wasn't ready to be a wife and a mother, so he raised his kids on his own. And like I said, they kinda like co-parented, but they kinda co-parented, when the kids were younger, like, she came when she wanted to see them, but other than that, he raised them on his own. He raised his kids on his own. Yep. Oh, trust me. He's not a big talker. It's so funny because I was on the phone with him earlier today and he was like, "I'm not a lot of people's cup of tea because I don't talk a lot." And I said, "Well, good, because I don't like talking like that either, to be honest with you." And it was so funny because he was like, he was like trying to make conversation. And it was so funny. I was like, "Why are you asking me those questions?" He was like, "I'm just trying to make conversation." I was like, "Oh, okay." Oh, guy. But we shall see. We shall see. I'm just sitting right here. Okay. But yeah, he's super cool, not pushy. He's just like, I want to spend more time with you. I want to see how things go, that type of thing. He calls me while he's at work, calls me on his lunch. He calls me when he gets home. He's like, "I'm just checking on you. Like, are you okay? Is there anything that you need?" That type of thing. And then he like asked me like what he asked me to tell him about myself. And I told him like I want a homestead. And I was like, "Do you know what that is?" He was like, "No." He was like, "What is that?" I said, "I want a large enough house. Like the house size doesn't really matter." I said, "But I want a big enough house because I want to have like Sunday dinners with the kids." I said, "But then my backyard needs to be big enough to where I can have chickens." I said, "And maybe some pigs." I said, "I'm not too sure about the cows, but maybe some pigs." I said, "To where I can get, eggs, and I want to have a garden to where I can, make like I can grow vegetables and stuff like that." I said, "Farm to table." He was like, "Oh, that's pretty neat." He was like, "Well, how long do you give yourself to get married?" I said, "I don't really have a time limit." I said, "But I was speaking to God and I at one point a couple years ago and I was just like, I want to be married by the time I'm 40." I said, "Next December I will be 40." And he was like, "You never know. It could be possible." He was like, "You could be married by next year." First of all, this is the third person that has said that to me just this year. One being your brother-in-law. But anyway, so that conversation happened, and I'm kind of like on the fence because I'm just like, dang, my heart is somewhere else. Like how do I move on in a sense? But then it's like I don't want to move on, but then I want to move on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna give him a chance. I am. That's why I'm going back out with him on tomorrow. If we don't go out tomorrow, we'll go out for sure next Saturday. But I'm planning on giving him a chance. He's not a bad guy. Um, he's not a bad guy at all. So, and guess what? Our birthdays are 10 days apart. His birthday is December 3rd. My birthday is December 13th. And I was like, "What do you have planned for your birthday?" He was like, "Oh, well, me and the guys, we were planning on going to Vegas." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he was like, "Yeah, but I don't he was like, "I probably can't get off for that day." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, he was like, "What are your plans?" I said, "I don't have nothing planned for my birthday." And he was like, "Well, we're gonna do something for your birthday." I said, "You don't have to do nothing for my birthday." He was like, "No." He was like, "We're gonna do something for your birthday." Because I feel like if it was meant to be with you, know who, then he'll make effort. Yeah. He does have a lot in common, and he loves to cruise, he loves to travel. Like, we were talking about the next cruises that we wanna go to, he was like, "What next cruise do you wanna go to?" I was like, "I don't know, but I've been to Ensenada, I've been to Mexico, like, 2, 3 times already. I've been to Hawaii when I was younger." I said, "But I haven't went when I was an adult." I said, "But I really wanna go to, like, the Bahamas," and he was like, "The Bahamas is good." He was like, yeah, he was like, "That's a good one." And I said, "But I don't wanna go on, like, a 3-day cruise. I wanna go, like, on a 12 like, on a 7-day cruise or maybe a 10-day cruise or something like that, a 2-week cruise or something like that." And he was like, "That's possible." I'm not sure he won't blow you off for your birthday. Nah, he won't. He won't. He's already and I was like, "So what are we gonna do, like, for my birthday?" He was like, "I'll plan it." He was like, "Don't worry about it." And that's another thing. He was like, "I'm super romantic." He was like, "If I want to take you out, I'm gonna plan the whole thing." And we were just talking, and he was like, "What places do you like to go?" And I was like, "Well, I like the beach and stuff like that." I said, "I'm really simple for the most part." And he was like, "Well, I'm gonna have to take you to the beach one day." I said, "In the cold?" He was like, "Yeah, you can go to the beach in the cold." I was like, "No, I don't want to." I said, "Maybe in the springtime." He was like, "Yeah, we could do the springtime." So he's he's a night owl like me. And then I tested him, y'all. I gave him a test. I gave him a test. I've never told y'all this story. So I was talking, yes. So I had to do my grading test for so I can get my license. And they get out at 2:10 and all I have to do is drop you off. Girl, you gonna have to do stuff by yourself at some point. You're fine. The hell, and I'll pick you back up on Tuesday. Girl, if you don't fucking do that shit, do you have the money? Oh, so what? December what? I told you, call them. Let me see your phone so I can Google you the number and tell them, like, I called off on the app and I just want to make sure that you guys got my call off and just tell them, like, I had I don't know where your damn internet. Why did she give me this and I don't know where the internet is? Um, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I was testing him. Here, FedEx, ground, Tracy, California. This should be the number. Let me. Oh shit, it's in your headphone. Let's see. No, not that one. Hold on. Yeah, she does. She likes it. Give me 1 second. I gotta get you just be you just be I promise you, you be I don't know what the hell you be doing. This is the number. Hold on, y'all. call off number. You gotta add. You need to hold on, y'all. We gotta go in my closet so I can find the damn paper. She don't fucking keep up with shit because they gave her the damn call off number, and she act like she don't know how to fucking keep paperwork. So anyway, so I texted him or whatever. Let me text my sister's phone real quick. She's liking it, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so I texted him because there go my other water bottle. Let me see. I'm trying to find my FedEx book with all my stuff in it. Is this it? I keep everything. I keep everything because you just gotta this girl. Let me see. That's a Detroit streetwalker. There go my Brookdale thing. We're gonna probably get on this floor in a second because that's the EDD. Nene. Hold on. Okay, let's get on the floor, y'all, because all right. Sorry, y'all. Let me see. Come here. This is FedEx. Come here. So anyway, um, so I have said something about okay, so I never told this story. So I was dating this other guy and it was like an age gap thing. And he was basically saying, "Give me this. Give me your phone." Okay, well, give me that too. Here. Anyway, so she you should have the call off number, employee solution contact, payroll, manager, fire. This how you know she ain't pay attention in orientation. Right here, right here. Oh, injury reporting manager is Yulissa. Call Yulissa and ask her, tell her that you called in. You know your badge number? Call it. It's 209 839 2018. She should be there. That's injury reporting. Just be like, hey, can you give me the call off number? Say I did it in the app, but every time I do it in the app, they give me a no call, no show. And then go into your notes. Oh, hold on. Just tell her you had a funeral. Did you leave a voicemail? Call the next one, 209 814 1441. This is why you're not getting because you don't call in. She does it on the app, but oh my God. They don't have no phone numbers on here. This is all different because, well, you need to call that, that one number that I gave you and, that first one, and then say, speak to a rep. Anyway, so, I was talking to this one guy, and this one guy was like, basically he was, basically he was like, this one guy, he was like, oh, I like, if you wish to make changes, opt out from participating. Um, he was basically saying like, oh, when he goes to bed, his wife, he requires his woman to go to bed. Um, blah blah blah. The fuck? So I had said that he was like, first of all, if she's tired and she wants to go, I'm not gonna be like, she I'm not finna if I'm tired and she's not, I'm not finna tell her it's time to go to bed. Like, that makes no sense. They should have given them a paper that had, like, all the information, call off number, everything. They don't. So, I tested him on that. Yeah, unemployment data. They don't have no numbers in here. Paid time off. Okay. Like, this does not give her anything. Anything at all. She should have wrote down numbers. She didn't do anything. Nay. God. Scan the QR code. Mm, 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 mm. Nay, nay. I found a card she can call. We're gonna be leaving in a little bit. To be headed to go get Marshawn. Nanny! Hold on.